Greetings everyone, Caddy Thomas here. Round number 16, AOR PS4 America Division. We are here at Marina Bay for the Singapore Grand Prix. On board here with Camden Luca, our current championship leader, I believe. Let me double check the standings right now. I'm running a little behind because I need to make a hot cocoa. Which is delicious, by the way. A slightly chilly evening. Hope everyone is having a great Sunday. We are in for an exciting race this evening. This is a very difficult track. Bring up some information. What kind of tires people are using? Ooh, we have a goodness, a lot of people on the hard tires. That is quite interesting this evening. Let's take a look at the standings and see where we're at right now. As soon as it loads. Yes, indeed, Camden Luca with a 13-point lead over Adrian Lockdock. Guinnett to win it in third place, 18 points behind. So very close at the top, a lot to play for here as we finish the season. As Camden Luca goes through the first set of corners. On board here with an onboard angle. The best opportunities for passing coming up here. Turn number 7, Memorial Corner. The tight right-hander of Stamford. Turn 8, turn 9, Handang. Coming up to turn 10, the infamous Singapore Sling. He handles that pretty well through 11 and 12. Heading to the tight left-hander of 13. Very easy to lock up or run wide on that corner, but he handles it quite nicely. Heads down to turn 14, Connaught. To the slight left, 15 into 16 and 17. Esplanade. And into the bay section. Underneath the stands, 19 at 20, 21. And he gets ready to complete the first flying lap here. To the last two corners, 22 and 23. And what kind of time will Camden Luca set? It is a 1:36.7. So that is the time for everyone to chase. Look, the stream would be a good idea. Greetings, Billy. How are you doing this evening? We're having a great Sunday evening as we see a piece of wing go flying. Already 88, currently in second. Oh, I don't want to see the gaps either. I want to see their actual lap time. Yeah, that's it. Our newest driver in the Ferrari, White Balls, in the Toro Rosso with a 1:37.7. Back on board with last week's winner, Kitsana, in the Haas on the hard tires. Right now, softs and mediums dominating the fastest times. So what can Kitsana do on the hards? I'm feeling tire wear will be playing a big issue on this track this evening. I find this one of the more difficult tracks to drive. Definitely one of the sweatiest. Kitsana sets a 1:39.2 on those hard tires. Let's see who else we have going around at the moment. We'll hop on board with the Red Bull of Get This or Die. Let's see where he's at on the track. Just about come up to, yes, right underneath the stands, which must be a fantastic section to sit once the cars go right underneath you. Let's see what kind of time on the medium tires that the Red Bull driver can set this evening, and it is going to be a 137.8, good enough for third at the moment. Let's see who else we have going around. Carusi going around on the hard tires. WV Phil sets a 143.4, good enough for ninth at the moment. Let's see what Carusi can do on the hard tires. A very impressive lap on those hard tires, a 138.4. Look, there is some speed available on those hard tires. Let's see who else we have going around at the moment. The man in second place in the championship right now in the McLaren. Lockdock running a little wide through there. It covers pretty nicely into the tight left-hander. It's a very tight section of the track right there, as I said earlier. Very easy to lock up and get it all wrong. As he heads through turn 14 and getting ready to head into the 15, 16, and 17 complex here. Let's see what the man currently in second in the championship can do. Underneath the stands, it looks like he has backed off this lap, so perhaps had a track extending warning and had to back off the lap. Maybe it was invalidated. We'll hop on board with the other Red Bull of Zemagolis and see what kind of time he's going to set here. Runs a little wide, but keeps it out of the wall there. Very nicely done. On the throttle as early as possible, and he sets a 137.3, good enough for second at the moment. Getting to win it on an out lap. Does look like the McLaren man here is going for a second flying lap. So let's see what kind of time the man in second can do. Runs a little wide and misses the apex there. So wait to get on the throttle as he gets ready to head towards turn 10, the Singapore Sling. It's a fun name to say for a corner. The tight section of 11 and 12 heading to the tight left-hander at 13 where we picked him up last lap. The power down pretty nicely there, ran slightly wide on the exit, but managed to not lock it up. Into turn 14, going towards the Esplanade of 15, 16, and 17. Esplanade. Seems like a weird name to have for a track at Singapore, but, you know, I don't name the corners. I'm just going off the track map I can find. And let's see what he can set. Can he get up there to battle Camden Luca, who is currently leading this championship? What kind of time can the McLaren driver set? It is a 1:39.4. He's definitely going to be looking to improve on that. Up on board here with the man currently in third place in the championship in the Toro Rosso. Get it to win it. He likes going on the alternate strategies. Feeling he would be on either the hards or the mediums, and he is in fact on those hard tires. Squeeze a good couple laps out of those right now. Currently it is the Williams of Camden Luca at the top as we approach 8.5 minutes to go, almost halfway through this qualifying session already. Let's see what the Toro Rosso driver can do. Can he get himself up there to fight for the win and close that gap in the championship even more? So brief yellow flag in Sector 2 and now in Sector 3 and Sectors 1 and 3. Get it to win it with a 1:39.0 currently. See who else we have going around at the moment. The man in the Racing Point blend machine on the soft tires. Let's see what kind of time he can set here. He has shown some speed while he's been in the league, so can he get himself up near the top? And he is going to set a 1:37.1. So pushes Zemagolis down into third and takes second place for himself currently, as we are already 7.5 minutes to go in this qualifying. Ball's on and out lap. Get it to win it. Is he on? He's got the battery turned down to 0, so I'm guessing he is just cooling down the tires here and recharging the battery to go at it again. Kitsana in the Haas. What kind of time Kitsana can set. What do we have going around? Chisholm going around. Fatal Experience yet to set a time. He out on the track currently is indeed, so we'll hop on board with the Ferrari. We have not ridden on board with him yet, so let's see what he can do. Can he get himself in the top 10? Hard on the brakes into there. Got to figure out where they are on the track. He is going through the sling right now. See how he will handle the tight left-hander of turn 13. Runs quite wide. Has to wait just a moment to get back onto the power. He would have liked to take that corner slightly better than that. Is this time going to be good enough, though, to get him inside the top 10? He is, in fact, back off this lap. Let's see where Ike Balls is on the track, and let's see what old Ike can do here. Is he going to go into the pits? Yes, indeed. As soon as I hop on board with him, he decides he's going to go into the pits. Must have known I was watching. What else do we have currently going around on a hot lap? Kitsana has set a 137.3 on the medium tires. Good enough for third at the moment. Greetings, SV2 Danny. How you doing? Or S2V, sorry. A little dyslexic there. How are you doing this evening? Good to see you again. Welcome to the Singapore Grand Prix. This is always a very difficult track. You have to pay close attention. Very much like Monaco. Perhaps with slightly more room to pass in a lot of ones. This is your primary passing right here into turn 7 into Memorial Corner. Your prime opportunity to make a pass is through that DRS zone and into turn 7. Perhaps out of turn 5 if you can get a good exit, you may be able to get a pass done, but this track is not known for a lot of overtaking. If you're going to make a move, you have to commit and you have to send it through the sling quite nicely. Puts the apex quite nicely coming through turn 13. And look back on those soft tires, so he is too concerned. He wants that pole position, wants that win to extend that gap even farther out at the front ahead of the McLaren of Adrilochdock and the Toro Rosso of Guinnett, who is in third place. Very tight battle at the top of this championship as we are starting to run out of races. This is already round number 16. Camden Lucas sets a 136.2, almost a 1 second gap at the top. So the man in the Williams looking quite strong right now, as Zemagolis sets a 137.1 on those mediums. That is a quite tidy lap on those tires right there, as it looks like everybody has abandoned the hard tires at this moment. Oh, they won't change your wing. Oh, that is just... Oh, I hate when they do that, Ike. Like you were showing some good pace there. That is a shame. That I'll pay those boys from Toro Rosso a little more to get that wing changed. So let's see what kind of time Carusi can set here in the Mercedes. Is actually, he may have abandoned his lap because I see his battery is currently on 0. Feeling he has abandoned this lap at the moment. Right on board here with the Ferrari of M3. Let's see what he can do this evening in the Ferrari. Right now sitting in 7th place with a 138.0. The gaps are really starting to show here. It looks looks like he is on a quite tidy lap, so let's see what he can do through the sling. You always pick up drivers right going through the sling or going underneath the stands. It seems to be the two most popular spots when I tune into somebody that is where they're going through. But stay on board here with the man in the Ferrari as we are under 2 minutes now left in this qualifying, so I'm going to need to get out of the pits here very shortly if you want to complete an out lap and one more flying lap. I don't think you want to be doing 2 laps on the soft tires, so as Letty sets a 1:36.8, good enough for second at the moment, so the Racing Point boys are coming to play. At the top we have a Williams followed by a Racing Point, a Red Bull, as M3 sets a time of 1:37.2, good enough for fifth at the moment. This blue machine is on an out lap. Let's see who else we have going around at the moment. Letty has set a couple laps on Angel Lockdock with a 1:36.8. Good enough for second, so the top 2 in the championship currently sitting 1 and 2 right now. Camden Lucas still in the pits. I don't think he's definitely not going to have enough time for another lap. Neither is Katsana. Get this or die. Aiku, they refuse to change his front wing. He is going to be stuck in there for and can do no better than 9th at the moment. As Carusi has retired from the session back down in 11th, so you know he would have liked to finish a little bit higher. Let's see how RFC does here as he is on his second lap. Will he be able to improve from 10th? Right now, everyone chasing the Williams of Camden Luca. Oh, as the Ferrari of M3 is into the wall. That is not where you want to be. It is not a good sign for the Ferrari driver. He will not be able to improve his position from 6th. The question now, can the McLaren find just over 6.5 tenths to get ahead of his championship rival at the front? Qualifying is over, and what kind of time will the McLaren be setting here as he gets ready to cross the line? I don't think it's going to be good enough. Yes, it is! Just gets ahead of him with a 1:36.1 on the medium tires, no less. So that was a heck of a lap by the McLaren to just take pole position. Is there anybody out there that can get ahead of him? His teammate, perhaps. Is RC going to have enough? He's still working on getting comfortable with his new pedal set, so let's see how comfortable he will be, as he is going to be the last one to cross the line. Nope, it looks like he is abandoning this lap. Actually, it looks like he is out of fuel, as Fatal Experience and McLaren F1 do not set times, so that is going to be it for qualifying, as the McLaren of Hadra Lockdock, who is sitting there like a three-wheeler right now in the middle of the track, takes pole position with a 1:36.1, followed by the Williams of Camden Luca, 1:36.2. So it is quite tight up at the top. Greetings, Dan. How are you doing this evening? Hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. Welcome to the Singapore Grand Prix, as qualifying is complete. Not sure who we are waiting on at the moment, but that is going to be that for qualifying, as Angel Lockdock just takes pole position away from Camden Luca, and on the medium tires no less, so he could definitely have a advantage here by being able to go mediums to hards in this race. But we shall see what is going to happen. Oh, as Cruzy apparently had pole position invalidated on the last corner. Fanta, you're looking forward to this one. I can't say much for the rest of the drivers, because this was never my favorite race, because this track requires your full concentration. at all times. One little slip up and you can be done. Your race will be over. But that is that for qualifying. Done and dusted. As we are getting ready to head out for the formation lap. You can see the excitement here. This gentleman in green on the left side just cannot hold his excitement in much longer. The look on his face, pure joy. Actually looks like a serial killer, but you know, that's neither here nor there. That is a good cup of cocoa. As we are counting down and getting ready for the session to start, we will run down the grid. The top two in the championship, Adria Lockdock, who is currently sitting in second, 13 points behind Camden Luca. They line up 1 and 2 on the grid, so things could be spicy. These two have had some run-ins in the last few races, so look out for these two. Showing a lot of speed. There is no love lost between these two drivers, I have a feeling. So the McLaren of Adria Lockdock lining up on pole position, followed by our championship leader in the Williams, Camden Luca. In third, the Racing Point of Aleti. In fourth, the Red Bull in Zemagolis. Lining up in fifth is the other Racing Point of Blend Machine. In the Ferrari now is M3, lining up in sixth place. Last week's winner, Kitsana, in the Haas in seventh. In the other Red Bull, we have Get This or Die lining up in 8th. The reserve driver in the Toro Rosso this evening, Ike Balls, lining up in 9th place. RC in the other McLaren lining up in 10th. In 11th, we have AKA Carusi in the Mercedes, followed by Linktick in the Renault. Gonna to win it in the Toro Rosso, back down in 13th. Probably not where he wants to be. He is third in the championship and 18 points behind Camden Luca. He's going to have some work to do this evening. Chisholm in the other Mercedes lining up in 14th. In 15th, we have WV Phil in the Haas. In 16th, we have the Ferrari of Fatal Experience. And in 17th, I guess patiently waiting in the pit lane to start, is McLaren F1 in the Alfa Romeo. Let's pull up a little bit of information. Tires, and I want some map data, and I want some telemetry. Thank you. As they go around to get the tires warmed up here on what is most likely a hot night in Singapore. At least it is not raining. This race tends to be known for its wet weather. I'm a bit disappointed it's not raining, I'll be perfectly honest, but I'm sure these guys are not. Adria Lockdock gets ready to come around. The computer takes control of his car, and he is going to be getting ready to line up on the grid as we get ready to start round number 16 of the Singapore Grand Prix here at Marina Bay. As the cars take their position on the grid, will there be chaos into turn 1, or will everyone take it fairly clean? It's turn 1, if you remember, a few years ago between the Ferraris and the Red Bull, Verstappen and Raikkonen pinching in Max Verstappen at the start. That was quite an exciting start. Why are you giving me that view there and that view there? I want the far away view. I want to see all the cars. Don't give me this on board. Come on. There we go. As we have 4 red lights, 5 red lights, and we are getting ready to go here at Singapore at Marina Bay. And who gets the better start? It looks like Camden Luca into turn 1 as Zemagolis is looking to go down the inside of Aleti in the background. He doesn't quite get the move done as Get This or Die gets spun around and all the way back to the back of the pack. That is just unfortunate right there. Coming off the line, not what the Red Bull wanted to see. As Chisholm is going back down the order as well, along with McLaren F1, who apparently has not even started this race. That is quite interesting, but at the front it is Camden Luca, who got away on those soft tires ahead of the pole sitter, Adrian Lockdock. Letty's still holding station in third. Zemagolis in fourth, right behind him. The Ferrari of M3 got up to fifth. Blend Machine back down into sixth to stay a little bit wide to avoid any action. Ike in the Toro Rosso has gotten his way up to seventh. Link Tick has gotten his way up to eighth. Katsana has dropped back down to ninth, with RC right behind him, staying where he started. But let's go back up to the top and see if the McLaren can close this gap anymore. So the Williams driver does not want to let him get away, as Oletti has dropped back a little bit. Starting to see some of the gaps form here. We could have some great infield battles here, I have a feeling, as Camden Luca leads them around. Oh, and the Ferrari of M3, a little sideways on exit, and he is going to drop back down the order as Carusi and Get It to Win It both into the pits early. Perhaps some early wing damage. I would have to guess this is not the kind of track you want wing damage on. You want as much downforce as you can have. As Camden Luca leads the way, Adrian Lockdock looking for a move to the inside. Going to be able to get it done. Not quite close enough, as they're starting to pull out a little bit of a gap to the cars behind them. Letty trying to take advantage of these two battling and trying to catch back up and get within a second. As we have an exciting start to the Singapore Grand Prix here, as it looks like Ike is right on the back of Blinn as they went through the Singapore sling, but has since backed off slightly. Katsana has worked his way back up into seventh, right where he started. Link Tick in the Renault. Let's see who the biggest movers are right now, as Fatal Experience actually in the Ferrari, who has come up 6 positions. Link Tick up 4 and Ike up 3, along with Phil back in 12th place. So right now the Ferrari of Fatal Experience looking like the one that's going to be moving up the most positions at the moment. But with this track, it is very important to stay as close to the car in front of you as you can to take opportunities when they present themselves, because there is not a lot of room for passing here. So like I was saying during qualifying, your best chance is out of turn 5 and into turn 7 at the end of the DRS zone. So now we will see, is the McLaren of Adrian Lockdock close enough to be able to get up on the back of the Williams and our championship leader and make a move? No, he is too far back at this moment, but Letty has definitely dropped back from these two. He is 2.3 seconds behind. Right behind him is the Red Bull of Zemagolis, and Blend Machine not letting these two get too far away, as the Ferrari of M3 has come into the pits, giving a few guys in the back some free positions who have pitted early, like Peruzzi and Ginnett to win, and both had to make an early pit stop. So you know Ginnett's going to want to try to get back up there. Currently third in the championship. He does not want to lose more ground than he has to between the top two. This late in the season, you can't afford to have a finish outside the points, so he is definitely going to have to do some battling to get back in the points. Let's see what he can do. Let's get that. Ooh, a little tap from the wall there from Ike. That's what I'm talking about. You're trying to maximize the amount of track you're using, but it is very easy to just push it a little too much and catch the edge of the wall. As Oletti already into the pits. Perhaps some wing damage. It is hard to tell from that camera angle. As Ike comes into the pits, I believe he definitely caught a bit of his front wing there. And let's see if this time, if Adrian Lockdock is going to be close enough. He is a lot closer on this go-around as he cranks up his battery with DRS. I think he's probably going to be able to get this move done, braking as late as he dares, and he gets the move done as clean as you like. On those medium tires, this could be a very important move in the race. I wonder how long will these soft tires last, Camden Luca. Right now, I think it's a lot about managing tires. Camden has surprised me quite a bit in the past, as Carusi unfortunately retires from the session. Not sure exactly what happened there, but unfortunate for him that he is out of this race as his car just up and vanishes. That is just too bad, as Katsana, with a couple early pit stops there from Aleti and Ike, has now gotten his way up into 5th place in that Haas. RC's worked his way up to 6th, but he is a ways back, from the Haas driver, so he is going to have some work to do to get back up into these battles, but he is on those medium tires. Fatal Experience, who started outside the top 10, is starting on the hard, so look for him to come back near the end of the race. His hard tires are probably going to a set of mediums near the end. Let's see if we can find out what happened to Carusi here. I don't understand. So apparently there was a bit of an issue in turn 1 near the mid-pack. As always, seems to try to win the race on turn 1. As One Tager Lockdock has gotten out in front of Camden and stretched that gap out to 2.5 seconds. So definitely seeing those medium tires come into their own right now as Katsana gets by Blend Machine. And now I think you're really starting to see those soft tires really start to go off and the mediums really come into their own. So perhaps the medium tire runners could have a prime advantage with a completely different strategy here compared to the soft tire runners. We're probably going to have to maybe start thinking about coming into the pits with the way the pace is going right now. Zemagolis is currently closing up onto the back of Camden Luca. And you gotta wonder, are these tires really starting to fall off a cliff? Because these gaps are starting to come down quite sharply, as RC has cut the gap down to 2.8 seconds to the racing point in front of him. As Aleti has gone for the hard tires, so not sure if you're going to be able to make those hard tires last until the end, but you can certainly try. And yes, indeed, there goes the Williams of Camden Luca. So those soft tires really only good for about 4 or 5 laps. So Blend Machine choosing to stay out. Now, will that be a detriment to him? Is he going to have enough life left in these tires, or will RC be able to close that gap down? And where is Camden Luca going to come out here? Let's see. Looks like Fatal Experience is getting ready to go into turn 1. Looks like the Ferrari is in fact going to get by. Williams should be able to get out in front of, perhaps in front of, yep, just in front, I believe, yep, of Aleti and WV Phil. Now let's see how these tires work for Blend Machine, because RC has closed that gap down. He is taking a lot of time out of the racing point in front of them as they get ready to go through the Singapore sling with soft tires. You got to get off these tires as quickly as possible. There's 1.5 seconds now. The gap in between is getting to win it, starting to work his way back up through, passes his teammate. He's back into the points right now, but you know he's going to want to get higher than that. And he's chosen to go for the medium tires, so definitely looking at a 2-stop strategy here. Perhaps going to go on to the hard tires and make these last, and try to last and go on to the soft tires at the end. Now the gap here is only 1.2 seconds, so the racing point of Blend Machine, I believe, is definitely going to be coming into the pits on this lap. And you can see him just kind of sliding around on these tires right now. And yep, it looks like he is diving into the pits. So perhaps the medium tire runners, medium tires may have been the one to qualify on. as Kitsana is really closing up onto the back of the Red Bull of Zamagolis. Kitsana really showing some good pace the last few races, with the win last week, albeit due to a slight disconnection and some penalties helping that, but still, a win is a win is a win. As Kitsana goes down the inside of the Red Bull, gets the move done and up into second place. Adrian Lockdock, though, has that gap out to 5.4 seconds right now, as we have a yellow flag in Sector 2, and let's see if we can figure out what that is for at the moment. As Phil gets out of the way for Blinn Machine, he knows where his fight is, and sometimes it's best not to fight a car and just let him by and perhaps stay behind and get a little bit of a slipstream. As Zamagolis may have some wing damage here. Let's see if we can get a different shot, because he's really losing some time right now. And RC is all over the back. And yes, indeed, it does look like the left end plate of that Red Bull is gone. So may have had some contact with a wall at some point, and that is definitely causing him to have some issues. So could very well be coming into the pits on this lap and probably throwing on a set of hard tires and trying to make them last until the end. But we shall see. I haven't really seen any of the top runners pick up a penalty as of yet. And yes, indeed, the Red Bull followed by the McLaren both go into the pits at the same time. Those medium tires not lasting very long as well. So very interesting to see where these guys will emerge on the track. Where is Camden Luca, our pole sitter, going around the start-finish line, so he should easily get ahead. And back into third place. Kitsana still yet to pit. In it to win it, showing some great pace. He sets a fastest lap and is back up into fifth at the moment. Let's see how far up the order the Toro Rosso driver can climb. Definitely wants to get in there and be fighting with the Williams of Camden Luca. Does not want to be losing any more ground in the championship battle. Right now, looks like RC comes back out in 13th as Zamagolis comes out in 10th place. As they both are in a little bit of traffic now that they are going to have to try to work their way by. Let's ride on board here with Ginnett, and let's see if he can close up to the racing point in front of him of Aletti, who is currently sitting in fourth place. Again, the McLaren of Hadra Lockdock in the lead at the moment. Kitsana in the Haas in second, and Camden Luca in third. Racing point of Aletti in fourth, followed by this man we're riding on board with right now, the Toro Rosso driver, who sits in third in the championship, 18 points behind Camden Luca. Wants to get by this racing point and up there and battling with the Williams, and doesn't not want to let Camden get too far out in front. Still perhaps is going to have to make another pit stop though. We'll check momentarily, but I believe he started on the mediums onto another set of mediums, so I definitely believe he is going to have to go with a two-stop strategy here. Let's just take a quick look here at the race director. I know he started on the hard tires, so technically if he could make these tires last, he can get away with it. I just don't think he's going to be able to make these last, 29 laps, I believe it would be, so that would be a huge, monumental ask to make these things last that long. Let's see what he can do as he is slowly closing up on the racing point, but not close enough to be able to make a move as they head into Stamford, into Padang, getting ready for the infamous Singapore Sling, turn number 10. Not quite close enough to be able to make a move. It is very tough to find places to pass on this track. Sometimes if you don't get the move done going into turn 7, you just have to kind of sit behind. Even here, if you got a good enough exit, you may be able to make a move as you approach turn 14, but it's still a tough ask because that corner narrows up in a hurry. not quite close enough. So you can see if you don't get that move done really in the DRS zone between turns 5 and 7, it is going to be very difficult to find another place to make a pass. You're almost going to have to wait for someone to make a small mistake. We're going to also keep an eye on the gap between Ike Balls and Blend Machine, as we have a Racing Point, Toro Rosso Racing Point. It's a double stuffed Toro Rosso sandwich between the racing points as Aletti gets a little sideways coming out of the final corner, turn 23. Again, not quite close enough to take advantage of that, as it does look like Blend Machine was able to get by Ike going into turn 1. He got that move done. Now it's Racing Point Toro Rosso, Racing Point Toro Rosso. As Aletti's trying to get that slipstream broken. Again, it is still showing some good speed, but again, he may have to sit here and follow the Racing Point for yet another lap. Camden Luca hasn't really been able to bring down this gap very much between himself and Kitsana. The gap's still hanging around 25 seconds right now. Ooh, as Ginnett does pick up a 3-second penalty. Saw him in a race the other evening. He unfortunately picked up about 20 seconds worth of penalties, which ultimately cost him a victory in the end. But hopefully he can keep that down to just that 3 seconds this evening. You know, he is pushing, trying to eke out every second he can, as he has gotten by the Racing Point of Aletti up into 4th place. 8-lap-old medium tires. How long will he be able to make those last before he has to go into the pits? Camden Luca has not been able to bring down this gap to Kitsana, who has yet to pit, along with... Yes, the top two have not made a pit stop yet. Adrian is definitely in position where he can make a pit stop and come out ahead of Camden Luca. I am not so sure if Kitsana is going to be able to have the same luxury, may come up just behind. We will have to see once they come into the pits. They are the only two to not pit at this point, along with Fatal Experience and WV Phil and McLaren, who is still sitting in the pit lanes, patiently waiting for the race to start or finish. Another two might have the best view in the house. Nobody knows. Yeah, Camden Luca just definitely, he's not able to cut into that gap. The gap is still 25 seconds. Even in clean air, Kitsana just not making any mistakes and forcing Camden Luca to push probably harder than he would like on these hard tires and take the life out of them. Getting to win it 8 seconds behind the Williams of Camden Luca. We could have a little bit of a battle here for 4th, 5th, 6th, and perhaps even 7th if Ike can get back up there into this battle. Right now, these are the best battles we have on track right now. We could have a bit of a Red Bull battle here for the final points paying position right now. And we'll see if Get This or Die can close up on the back of Zemagolis, who is on much fresher tires, who RC has now gotten by. McLaren driver back down in 9th place. Will inherit 8th once Fatal Experience does come into the pits for his mandatory pit stop. Top two still staying out there on these medium tires. I have a feeling when one pits, the other will pit. Camden Luca still just not able to bring that gap down to Kitsana right now, as Aletti is still all over the back of Ginnett here. Medium versus hard tires. Perhaps these hard tires are going to start coming into their own here. And not quite close enough to be able to make a move down into turn 7. And probably is going to have to stay behind the Toro Rosso now. He wants to lick the stamp and send it into one of these corners, but it is a big ask into some of these corners. Blend Machine getting back into this battle as Ike picks up a 3-second penalty. He has dropped back a little bit from this battle now for 4th, 5th, and 6th. is now 2.5 seconds behind Blend Machine as we have some contact between teammates as Blend Machine goes into the back of Letty. That was unfortunate and sends his teammate into a half spin, which allows Ginnett to get a little bit of breathing room now. Camden has brought that gap down to 24 seconds as Kitsana does come into the pits now. And let's see where the Williams comes out. Is he going to be able to get ahead of Kitsana as Kitsana is getting ready to exit the pit lane? And Camden Luca coming down the front straight and does in fact just get by the Haas driver, but the Haas driver on 7-lap fresher tires right now, so definitely look for Kitsana, the way he was driving, to be able to close that gap back up pretty quickly, I would think, to Camden Luca. 3.5 seconds once he gets these hards into a good temperature range. I have a feeling that we are going to see a battle for second and third. We're going to ride on board here with our pole sitter who led all but the first 5 laps here. We'll see. Is he going to come into the pits on this lap and put on a set of hard tires to the end of the race? I have to think Kitsana's not going to have any trouble getting these hard tires to the end. Camden Luca may run into a little bit of tire wear into the closing stages, and yes indeed, the McLaren comes into the pit lane right now, and let's see how close it's going to be once Camden Luca comes up to the line. I have a feeling that the gap is going to probably be around 4 to 5 seconds. Once the McLaren comes out, it's actually probably going to be a bit larger gap than that, it looks like. Perhaps even closer to about 8 seconds. We shall see. Camden Luca now crosses the line, and Adrian Lockdock just comes out of the pits. So actually, yeah, about 5-second gap now, with Kitsana about 3.1 behind, but perhaps pick up DRS from the lapped car here. Could be quite a bonus here for the Haas driver. Yes, indeed, does pick up DRS, so an extra few miles an hour is not going to hurt the Haas driver's feelings, who's currently sitting in third at the moment. And I just have to think that at some point, as we do have a safety car, this could throw the whole race on its head here. We were wondering if we would see the safety car this evening, and we do in fact see it. This could be a godsend for Ginnett to come in for a free pit stop right now and get off these tires and onto a set of hard tires. Perhaps stay in 4th place if we see a lot of cars behind come into the pits as well, as this kind of hurts Adrian Lockdock, who just came out of the pits before the safety car. So there goes the gap. I have a feeling Camden Luca will probably come in for a fresh set of tires as well. I'm not sure if these hards could have made it to the end, but let's see as they get ready to come up to the pits who will come in and who will stay out. I figure first and third will most likely be staying out, as I don't really see an advantage to either one of them coming in to get off these hard tires at the moment. But let's see. I don't know if the mediums would last until the end. That would be a tough ask, as none of the Williams of Camden Luca stays out. That is, I'm actually quite surprised by that. I have to think Ginnett is going to be coming in. Well, Blend Machine, it looks like he is coming in. Letty decides to stay out. That is quite interesting, as does Ike. If some of these guys would take advantage of the free pit stop here under safety car to get on a fresh set of tires, especially the likes of Letty and Ike. You would think that they would want those fresh tires near the end, but I guess they feel like they can make these tires last until the end. It is going to be very interesting to see, as We do have a safety car. Last time we had a safety car, we had a bit of an issue in terms of some penalties and a bit of confusion, but hopefully none of that happens this time around, and it's just a normal safety car. We'll see how many laps it stays out for, as Ginnett has come back out in 6th place and Blend Machine in 7th place. Blend Machine going for the medium tires, so I'm going to try to make those last 16 laps. Same thing with RC's. Emagolas Fatal Experience also goes on to the mediums. Get this or die. We've just gotten some fresh mediums. Link Tick coming in, and looks like he is going to set on a set of soft tires. That is a bold move. I'm not sure if those will last to the end. I don't really think so, but we shall see what happens. As we're going to go back up to the front. I think this is a good opportunity to take a look at our race director for a moment. Well, nothing is going to happen, and let's see who has any kind of penalties. Right now we have Chisholm with 3 seconds. Ginnett to win it with a 3-second. Chisholm with a 5-second. Ike Balls, 3-second penalty. Chisholm with another penalty. WV Phil, get this or die. Ginnett to win it with another one. WV Phil with a severe collision with Zemagolas and picks up a 5-second penalty. Linked Tick with a 3-second penalty. Chisholm with another 3-second penalty. Ike with another 3-second penalty. Chisholm with a 5-second penalty. Get this or die with a 5-second penalty. Chisholm with another 3 seconds. And Fatal Experience with another 3-second penalty. So, right now Ginnett does have 6 seconds worth of penalties. As now Aletti and Ike come into the pits. But this is going to lose them more positions than I think they would have liked. As Ginnett comes into the pits and gets held up there a little bit. Goes onto a set of medium tires. Some very interesting... Oh! There's a bit of a bump there from Get This or Die into the Ferrari of Fatal Experience. So, very interesting strategies playing out. I think that was about 1 lap too late for that pit stop on for Aletti and Ike, as it did cost them a couple positions. So now it is going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out. Our top 3 right now on the hard tires, and most of the rest behind, with the exception of Ike and 8th, are on the medium tires and going to try to make them last till the end, as we are about halfway through this race behind the safety car at the moment. How much longer will the safety car be staying out is the question. As the only 2 DNFs right now are the 2 Mercedes drivers of Chisholm and Carusi. McLaren F1 has never come out of his pit garage. I'm guessing engine failure. That's why he stayed in. But they couldn't find his gloves or the steering wheel. That's probably it. Couldn't find the steering wheel. We will take this moment just to run down the field. Now it looks like all the pit stops here under safety car have played out. But we'll see. I'm still kind of shocked that Camden has stayed out. I feel like it is too late now for him to pit. He would lose way too many positions. If he chose to pit now, he would be coming out probably down in 11th behind Ginnett. So definitely too late for him to make a pit stop now. I think he is going to be in a tough position trying to make these hard tires last until the end. I think he missed a prime opportunity to go into the pits for a fresh set of tires. And we are going to have another lap behind the safety car. Hopefully it will come in this lap. Oh no! I don't know what happened there, as there was a bit of a spin. Whether that was self-caused by Adrian Lockdock just trying to get his tires warm and perhaps spun it around. It does look like he lost his left end plate there, so that is an unfortunate thing to have happen right there. As luckily Ghosted And Kitsana got there, or else that really could have been disastrous for a few drivers. So Camden Luca gifted a spot here at the front. The question is, can these 11-lap old hard tires, how much life is going to be in them? Going to have enough to keep the rest of the pack behind? Or are we going to see some fireworks here? Some new messages, so we're going to take a quick look at those to see what is going on. Camden Luca gifted a position. Safety car is in this lap. We're getting ready to restart this race, and things have just turned dramatically on their head. Camden Luca on old hard tires. Adrian Lockdock looks like, yes indeed, is definitely missing the left end plate of the wing. That is going to cost us some time. Kitsana could be in prime position to pick up back-to-back wins here on fresh hard tires versus a car with wing damage and a car on old hards. So things are getting interesting with only a few laps to go. Is yes, in fact, McLaren of Lockdock unfortunately does have to go into the pits, and Blend Machine picks up a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Kitsana. That is unfortunate. Unfortunately, Adrian Lockdock having to go into the pits is going to drop him all the way back down into 13th place right now. I really have to say, this could be anybody's race at this point. With Kitsana on these old tires, it is going to be very difficult, I think, to keep these other cars behind. Kitsana has shown some great speed. Camden at the front is going to have a battle as Blend Machine on the medium tires, along with RC and Zemagolis, along with Aletti. This really could be anybody's race here as we get going, as there is a line of cars behind the Haas of Kitsana. Gotta focus on what's ahead of him and not what's behind, just to get back up onto the back of the Williams of Camden Luca. So as soon as DRS is activated, to take advantage and be close enough to be able to make a move. Put some pressure on the Williams driver who has those old hard tires. I really think this could be anybody's race to win at this point. I honestly could see anybody in the top 6 or 7 right now coming out victorious in this race, depending on how it plays out. Penalties could play a part in this. Tire wear is going to play a part in this. Adrian Lockdock all the way back down into 13th place right now. Not where he wanted to be, considering the championship fight he's in with Camden Luca, who is at the front with a 13-point lead in the championship. Could really take advantage of this and extend that gap out and make it almost a lock here, as we are on round 16. We only have 5 races to go, so anything can happen here, but it is going to be quite difficult. Quite difficult indeed. We even have 5 races to go. So we're going to go to Suzuka. We might only have 4 races to go after this one. I think we do. Get it to win it picks up a 5-second penalty, so unfortunately I think that's Bennett not having the race he would have liked here, as Kitsana is now all over the back of the Williams. Blend Machine right behind Kitsana, so we are having quite a battle here at the front. As you can see, the top 7 are all within 1 second of each other. Fatal Experience not far behind. Get This or Die right behind the Ferrari of Fatal Experience. So when DRS is activated here, we could see it all kicking off, and we could be seeing some big fireworks into the closing stages of this race. Camden Luca on these 13-lap-old hard tires. Gotta wonder how much tire wear is going to be a factor for him coming down the stretch. Is he going to be able to keep these cars behind as DRS is now enabled? As Katsana closing up in that braking zone. The much fresher tires, half the age of the hard tires of the Williams driver, as RC and Zamagolis get by Blend Machine, as it looks like Blend Machine had a bit of a moment back there. So that puts the other McLaren of RC up into second place, as Katsana has DRS active and isn't quite close enough on this lap to make a move on Camden Luca, but is all over that Williams car. Camden Luca is probably going to have to take some life out of the tires just defending, as this has become quite a battle behind, as Fatal Experience has worked his way up into 5th place with everything that has happened. So this is let's see who the biggest mover right now is. Yes, indeed, Fatal Experience, who has moved up 11 spots. RC up 7 and Katsana up 5. So those three have really taken advantage of what has happened in this race. And I'll tell you what, right now, I really like what Katsana is doing, and I think just keeping that pressure on the Williams in front of him is going to force Camden Luca to defend a little more than he would like. Not able to pull away from the Haas, as they've created a bit of a gap behind him to the McLaren of RC, who has Zamagolis pressuring him for that final podium position in the Red Bull. So, a lot of things going to happen here in the last half of this race, and we will see who is going to come out on top, as Camden Luca desperately trying to break the slipstream. His Fatal Experience is getting into the mix back there as well. The goal is not quite close enough to RC to be able to make a move, but perhaps if he can get a good enough exit coming out of turn 5, may be able to make a move going down into turn 7, as he has DRS open and is all over the back of the McLaren. RC goes defensive on the outside, or on the inside, excuse me, but the DRS for the Red Bull driver gets him up into 3rd place. This battle at the front is still going on. The Haas of Katsana all over Camden Luca as they go through the Singapore sling, and this is a great camera view. Like Camden Luca may have cut the corner slightly there, may have picked up a warning, as Katsana closing up into the braking zone, but the Williams getting a slightly better exit out of the corner. Gotta wonder how much life is left in these tires on that Williams. 15 lap old hard tires. They're gonna be able to make them last to the end and keep the Haas behind them. That is the question of the day right now, as they have stretched out the gap to 2.3 seconds behind them to the Red Bull. RC dropping back a little bit. Fatal Experience right there, along with Oletti and Eichballs. Get this or die. Blend Machine all right behind. Adriel Lockdock working his way back up, but into 12th right now, closing up on WV Phil, as the Ferrari of Fatal Experience in the background goes sideways, and that is going to drop him back down the order. That is unfortunate for the Ferrari, who had worked his way up the field, up into 5th place at one point, but dropping back down into, looks like 10th place at the moment, may even be farther before it is all said and done. That is a tough break for the Ferrari driver this evening, as Adriel Lockdock now is going to try to close up on the Ferrari, as Oletti is all over the back of RC after the incident, or after the spin from Fatal Experience. Let's see if Oletti can get by the McLaren. And don't forget about Ike back here in 6th place. On those hard tires, he could have some good life left in those near the end of the race. Get this or die a little ways back, along with Blend Machine, who has recovered from his incident into the first couple corners a few laps ago. He is trying to get back up into the battle. Andrew Lockdock getting real close to the Ferrari there, trying to get back up into the points in any way he can. Trying to cut down that gap to Camden Luca, but unfortunately that spin under the safety car cost him huge, having to make a pit stop as the safety car came in. That lost him quite a few spots and really dropped him out from being able to challenge for the win of this race. Well, the only thing that could save him now would be another safety car, as Katsana closes up on the Williams, keeping him honest, staying within DRS. Ooh, gets a little loose coming out of turn 3. Able to recover and stay within DRS range. That is the most important thing, staying within the DRS, trying to get that toe down the straight. Not going to be close enough to be able to make a move, but that little moment has brought Zamagolas back into the battle a little bit. Now only 1.3 seconds behind. Take a look at Aletti, who is closed right back up on the back of the McLaren of RC, with Ike Balls for company right behind in the Toro Rosso. This battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th is also heating up, as Adrian Lockdock does get by into 10th right now, so he is there for just that last point. Is really not going to help to close the gap to the Williams of Camden Luca. He really needs Katsana to get by up there. If Camden Luca wins this race and Adrian Lockdock finishes down in 10th, that is not going to help the gap. It is going to extend the gap to 37 points at the front if it stays like this right now. Adrian Lockdock close to link tick in the Renault, so perhaps going to be able to make a move and get into 9th, pick up yet another point, and oh no, it is Katsana around. Oh, that is unfortunate. Katsana was looking so good. Got perhaps a little too close to Camden Luca and lost it there. That is unfortunate. So now Zamagolas could be looking good for a win, or perhaps Aletti, if he can close back up to the front too. Camden Luca, who's being pressured, now has a little bit of breathing room, but the Red Bull is coming for him on those medium tires as Katsana is going into the pits, and that is going to drop him back. That is an unfortunate way that did not want to end this race battling for second. Was looking in prime position. That does promote Adrian Lockdock up into 8th place though, so perhaps that is one bit of good news for our man in second, but right now he really needs someone other than Camden Luca to win this race, because if Camden Luca can hold on for the victory, then it's just going to extend that points gap farther and farther and make it tougher and tougher. Although we do have a pending stewards decision from last week at Monza, so that could factor into some times at the end, but we shall see once the stewards have made their decision. But irregardless, right now the Red Bull of Zamagolas trying desperately to get within DRS range of the Williams and get some pressure on and try to force the Williams into a mistake, which is tough. Camden Luca does not make many mistakes. He's taken the gamble to stay out under the safety car on the hard tires, which were quite old. Now, is that gamble going to pay off? Or will these guys behind who pitted for fresh mediums run to the end? Will their strategy work out in the end? As RC and Get This are into the pits. I think teams are going through a lot of front wings. That promotes Adrian Lockdock back up into 6th. So great recovery for the McLaren driver after the spin under the safety car. Could not have spun at a worse time in terms of losing a lot of time and positions. Whether there was contact, I could not tell, or whether it was just trying to keep the tires warm and pulled a Bottas and spun it. It's really hard to say. As Katsana is back up into 9th and RC is down in 10th at the moment. Getting it to win it up into 8th place right now. Does have some penalties looming, but right now that gap is big enough that I don't think that will affect any positions, but is not going to help him when it comes to trying to get closer to the top 2 in the championship battle. He was only 18 points behind Camden Luca. As we are on lap 25 of 31 as we look from overhead. The battle between RC and Katsana as they enter the Singapore Sling. No move being made there. Zemagolis is closing up to the Williams as they get ready to cross the line and start lap number 26. You see the Williams going to the left and back to the right, trying to break that slipstream. The Red Bull hanging in there, creeping up ever closer on every lap as Adrian Lockdock wants that extra point, sets fastest lap. That could be very crucial come the end of the year for that extra point. Right here, right now, the battle for the lead as Zemagolis in the Red Bull is inching ever closer to the Williams, who is on 20-lap-old hard tires. You got to wonder how much life is left in those tires, as Zemagolis is on 11-lap-old medium tires as well. With the lighter car and less fuel, though, that is not going to make as much of a difference to the tire wear. But this is one of those times I would really love to know what their tires are at and see who has the upper hand. As battery-wise, Camden does have a good amount of battery left to defend with. Zemagolis has been managing his quite well. So this could be a very interesting battle here in these last few laps. Right now, it is our closest battle on track, as Ike Balls in his debut filling in the Toro also is in fourth, so good showing here. After he had some issues in qualifying with them refusing to change his wing, and was unfortunately unable to set a faster lap, so having a good showing here in fourth place at the moment. Now the question remains, who is going to win this race, as we are on lap 27 of 31. How worn are Camden's tires? They're probably screaming at him at this point. Hanging on for dear life, as it looks like that is WV Phil, perhaps, that they are approaching in the Haas. I must say that black car does look nice as it goes under some of the lights. You get a little blue tint in there, which is quite nice. As Link Tick is coming into the pits, that puts Get This or Die in the other Red Bull, who sets the fastest lap into 10th. Give that man an extra point right now for the fastest lap. Zemagolis cannot get this gap any closer than half a second. He gets up there and then unfortunately falls back a bit. For some of the tight sections, he's not able to get close enough when he needs to be. He needs to be right on the back of that Williams as they approach a DRS zone. Either through the last corner or through turn 5, he's got to be a lot closer in order to get a move done. That is easier said than done as you go through some of these twisty bits, trying to be right on top of another car, although he is only, he was 3.5 seconds behind, but now he's back to 6/10 behind him. Get through those twisty bits, and sometimes it's really tough with the car in front of you. Really unsettle your view, as Aletti has come back into this fight and is less than a second behind. As you see, the car is going back and forth trying to break the slipstream. Camden's trying to break the slipstream. These guys are trying to keep the slipstream. Now the question is, who has the upper hand here, as we are on lap 28 of 31. It's hard to believe how fast this race has gone by. A lot of action here at the front, and we do have some action here at the back, as the McLaren of Adrian Lockdock has fought his way back to 5th place after being all the way down in, I believe, 13th after the safety car period. So quite a good comeback. But how far up the grid can he get at the end here? Because there is a pretty decent gap between 4th place of Ike and 3rd place of Aletti, who has gotten himself into this battle for the podium. You see the top 3 cars right there. Oh, his Fatal Experience unfortunately retires from the session. If we stay on board here, we may be able to get a shot. Oh, yes, there's the Ferrari right there. He's unfortunately has found the wall. He cannot make the corner. See what I did there? We shall see who the winner of this race is going to be. This is getting exciting. As when we cross the line, we will be on lap 29 of 31. Only 3 laps to go as they all approach the Haas. This may actually be an advantage for Camden because it may give him DRS as well. And it does indeed. Only had it for that section, though. He's not going to get it for the next DRS zone, but could have been enough to keep those 2 at bay. As Aleti is all over the back of the Red Bull of Zemagolis. So all top 3 in one shot right there. That is what you want to see in league racing. A great battle for the win. The podium up for grabs right here. Is this going to be our podium finishers? What order will it be? As this race has just flown by. Usually for me, this is one of the longest races of the year. But it has moved by as Adrian Lockdock has gotten himself up into 4th place. I don't really count him out yet. With the speed that he has, he may be able to find a way to get back onto the podium, and that would be a heck of a recovery drive. I would have to almost say driver of the day material right there for a recovery drive like that after spinning behind the safety car. But that remains to be seen, as he is only 2 seconds behind Aleti. So he is closing that gap up. The question is, does he have enough laps? As Aleti has lost a little bit of time to the Red Bull, who is still all over the back of Camden Luca, but just cannot get close enough when it matters to be able to make that move. As we across the line this time, we are going to be on lap 30 of 31, only 2 laps to go. The Red Bull is running out of time to be able to make this move, as Pedro Lockdock has now closed up to within DRS range. So a heck of a recovery drive by the McLaren driver after spinning on the safety car's in lap and having the pit go all the way back down to, I believe, 13th, 12th or 13th, and has battled his way back and could end up on the podium here. As you can see, the top 5 in one shot right there, which was pretty nice to see. Is he going to go for the move? Not quite close enough, but does force Aleti a little bit wide. Wasn't close enough to be able to get the move done. As Camden Luca has done a heck of a job here. 24 lap old hard tires has made these things last. Zemagolis is trying everything he could think of to get by or to have Camden Luca make a mistake, but it is just not happening. As it looks like Adrian Lockdock does get by around the outside of the hard left-hander of turn 12. Aleti is fighting back into turn 13. And is Adrian Lockdock going to be able to get the switchback? Not quite able to get it done. Have 3rd place for a moment, but that has allowed Ike to get back up into this battle for the final podium spot. And Adrian Lockdock spins. Oh, that is unfortunate after all that work. Spins and loses the front wing completely. That is just unfortunate to see as Camden Luca crosses the line as we start our last lap, as Zemagolis needs to get the move done on this lap if he wants the first victory of the year for him. If not, he will be finishing in 2nd place, as Get It to Win It has retired from the session. That is unfortunate, but that is going to help Link Tick out and get Link Tick up into the points right now, which is awfully nice for him. Just as Zemagolis has had 1 podium, a 2nd place at, it looks like, Hungary, I believe, if I can remember correctly, but has not had a win, so would desperately like to have the win, but I'm not sure that he has enough spot. Oh no, as RC has retired from the session. Drivers retiring left and right here on the final lap. That is really not what you want to see. A lot of it's just mistakes being made here, as Ike and Aletti are battling for that last podium position. Aletti trying to squeeze Ike out of there, as I saw a bit of front wing go flying. And they both appear to be losing a bit of front wing, as we have battles for first and second and third and fourth. Who's going to come down to take these positions, as this is going to promote Link Tick and WV Phil up another position. Link Tick will end up taking 9th place, as Phil should end up taking 10th for that last point. But it is our championship leader extending that gap, and a great stint on those hard tires. Camden Luca with the victory. Zemagolis coming in second. It looks like Aletti is going to come home in third, followed by Ike in Toro Rosso in fourth. Angel Lockdock looks like he is going to come across the line, possibly in fifth. But I'm sure with penalties, is a little bit of a bump there by Blend Machine without any wing, as Blend Machine does pick up a penalty. So it does promote Angel Lockdock up into fifth, and Blend Machine in sixth. Kitsana, who at one point looked like would be on for the win, finishing in a fairly disappointing seventh, I'd have to say, for himself. Probably could have won this race if things had turned out differently. Get This or Die in the Red Bull, finishing in eighth. I don't mean Link Tick should be coming across the line here in 9th place. WV Phil. Actually, it looks like Phil is going to finish in 11th place, which is interesting, since RC retired, but I guess maybe Phil was a lap down. We'll have to see the final results when they come across. But anyway, it is Link Tick coming across the line for 9th. And that will do it for the Singapore Grand Prix. Camden Luca with an incredible stint on those hard tires somehow keeps everyone behind and comes home for the victory and extends the championship lead. The Williams coming home in first. Those tires are just dead. Zemagolis in the Red Bull coming home in second. And Aletti coming home in third. What a race that was. Ike Balls coming home in fourth place for the Toro Rosso. We will run down the results before we head out for the evening. And it's Camden Luca coming home in first place in the Williams. Zemagolis in the Red Bull in second. Aletti in the Racing Point in third. Ike Balls in the Toro Rosso coming home in fourth. Angel Lockdock in the McLaren in fifth. Blend Machine in the other Racing Point coming home in sixth place. Kitsana in the Haas in seventh. Get This or Die in eighth place in the Red Bull. Link Tick in the Renault in ninth. RC in the McLaren coming home in 10th. Just out of the points, we have WV Phil, M3 in the Ferrari, Get It to Win It in the Toro Rosso, Fatal Experience in the Ferrari, Chisholm in the Mercedes, and AKA Caruzzi in the other Mercedes. I have been Caddy Damas. This has been the Singapore Grand Prix for AOR America, the PS4 division. Tune in next week, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We will see you then. Everybody have a good week.